Unlocked. Last week we talked about the phantom time theory, and that made me think of the concept of just time in general and how is it like man-made? How did we come up with this whole concept of time? Like, what is an hour? Why is it an hour? Why is it a day? Why are there months? Like, I mean, just thinking about seconds to minutes, to hours, to days, to weeks, months, years. Like, how does it work?
Yeah, those are really good questions.
Like, who made this shit up? Like, is it really man-made? Is it, the phantom time theory made us really question, like, are we living 300 years in the past?
Yeah.
But I mean, really, we're not living technology like 3 years in the past. It's just, this would be a different, like, year, just the name of the year, Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's just a label.
Yeah.
It's not, like, I'm a
what
girl,
does
this
it
is a
really
computer,
mean?
there's, like, it's just a label. So what is time?
Time is a measure.
Is time even real? I mean, my mind got boggled, okay, guys? Like, I'm mind boggled trying to figure this out. And then I found out that there are actual places within our world right now that it is not currently the year 2024. It is actually currently the year 2017, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Wow.
So let's just back it up a bit. And before we can start with, like, this whole episode, we just kind of need to define what time is. Because, like, that is the calendar. It's just a bunch of time put on paper.
Yeah.
It's charting time. It's just like a vessel just to show that time is passing. Like, is it a physical thing? Scientists look at time as a dimension that we exist in, but can only go in one direction.
Yeah.
We can't go backwards. We can't go like unless
we have a time machine.
Yeah.
Or a portal.
It is the chronological events from one event to the next, to the next, to the next. But how did time get invented? Is time even real? If we did not have, like, calendars, would we even know the concept of time? Like, who started this? Why? And why is it 12 months? Why is there a leap day? If time is linear and has always been the same, shouldn't it be the same, like, everywhere? Like, all the time?
All across the world?
All throughout the past?
Oh, yeah.
And if that's the case, why have there been so many different variations of calendars and interpretations of the concept of time? So that's what I kind of, like, went into this episode, like, trying to find answers. Like, what the fuck is time? Like, it sounds so stupid, but, like, really, you start thinking about it and your mind gets a little dizzy, like, boggling, like, discombobulated. So let's get into it. The ancient calendars were not formatted like our calendars today. The first known calendars were basically just tracking the sun and the moon. In prehistoric times, the civilizations would use the ground formations as calendars. So they weren't ground formations then.
Yeah.
They made ground formations. So now we look back, and if we see a bunch of rocks in a circle like Stonehenge, that could have fucking been a clock that they had used at that point in time.
Yeah.
5 billion years ago or whatever,
Like a sundial.
It could have been like a type of sun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you think about it, and it is in a circle, and some of those, like, stones could have been moved by accident or knocked over or freaking who knows what happened in the last 50 million years.
Well, that reminds me of the Georgia Guidestones, because didn't they use that as somewhat of a calendar? Also?
Yes, it would show where the
summer solstice and the equinox, right?
All of that. Yeah, the summer solstice, the winter solstice, or the winter solstice. Yeah, is it solstice or is it the winter equinox? Is it summer equinox?
I seem to remember equinox.
Here's a plug. Go back and listen to, it's probably episode 86 or so. Yeah. The Georgia Guidestones Unlocked, and you can learn all about the Georgia Guidestone and what they mean. So anyways.
But it did remind me of that also.
Yeah, it is kind of like the same thing. Yeah. And I think that, we talk about, obviously, calendars because that's what it was, pretty much. So they would build ground formations in order to like make the first like clock, date, time type thing, because obviously they didn't have a pen and paper. You know, they're not over there like checking it off like in a jail cell or like time.
I can imagine they would
in
use
the cave. Coal in the cave.
Or the embers from the fire or something.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
The
blood. Yeah. But they their views were like much larger, right? Like they didn't see it just on a little piece of paper. They saw it huge, like, and I think that it was kind of like a sundial where like a cave writing wouldn't work. Those things wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So
that would just be their
way of check marking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's been a day.
Personal calendar in their cave or something, but not
their personal wall calendar.
Yeah. They had their planner.
their
this is when I'm gonna go hunt. They draw a bison.
The cave planner.
This is when I'm gonna go forage. They draw some berries.
So a formation of 12 pits were found in Warren Field, Aberdeen. I said this like 5 times when I was writing the episode, and I thought I had it down.
Oh.
Aberdeenshire, Scotland.
Aberdeenshire.
Yeah, it's like a tongue twister.
Aberdeenshire.
Yes, there it is, Scotland.
Okay, Scotland.
And these pits were formated or dated back to the Middle Stone Ages, approximately 8,000 BC, so over 10,000 years ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
As of 2013, the 12 pits represented the lunar cycle. Oh. So this calendar, quote unquote, is considered the world's oldest known calendar.
Wow. So it's the first calendar that has been discovered.
Yeah, the oldest known calendar to be discovered. And we don't they don't really know what it is. They just find 12 pits and they're like, oh, it's for the moons. So anyways, there as we go moving forward, there's different types of calendars. There's a solar calendar, there's a lunar calendar.
I have a question though, I'm sorry. Was it actually the pit shaped like the faces of the moon? Like one was a crescent shape?
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because that would make sense.
Yeah.
If it was shaped like the face of the moon.
Yeah.
A full pit, a crescent pit, then it would make sense.
It would.
But if it's just a hole in the ground, then I can see where you're like, well, they don't even fucking know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't understand.
I imagine it being shaped like the face of the moon.
No.
I don't know.
That would be really cool.
I don't know, but
let me see because that would actually make more sense.
But it might not look like that now.
That's what I'm thinking too, because it would have been filled in.
It would be how it would have been back then when they first did it. You know?
Yeah.
Like some might be smaller because the moon looks tinier. And then, you know, when the moon is really close to us and it looks huge, that pit would be gigantic for the full moon.
Oh, yeah. And look at this. Yeah. That's very interesting because they are half dug in kind of like the moon shape.
Yeah. See, that makes
more sense as to why they would think it was the moon. Because I was just thinking...
just like a pit.
Like to go bury a body in or some shit. I'm like, I don't know why they think this. But those scientists and archaeologists, they have to know what they're talking about, right? How cool. So they've been tracking the moon for quite some time.
Yeah.
So fast forward a couple thousand years. And the Vucedol culture was using ceramic vessels to inscribe their calendar. So we're getting closer to pen and paper calendars like we day planners.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
They gotta have their life planned out.
Yeah. So this actually would have been present day Croatia. And it was dated to be about in 2600 BC. This time, however, they added the new year starting at dusk on the first day of spring.
Okay.
So when spring would happen.
Yeah. First day of spring, that's that would be a good marker.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, but it's interesting that that's the new year. So the new year changes, as we'll find out as we continue forward. The new year isn't ever really January 1st.
Yeah.
It's always different. And that's another thing, like,
Different
why
cultures too.
that was why, like, I had so many questions, like, if time is time, then why are there so many different, like, New Year's, different everything?
Like the Chinese New Year is different.
Yeah, we talk about that too.
Yeah.
So it took about 5,000 years to get, like, the whole year concept down. Before that, it was pretty much just like the lunar calendar of moons. And from there, the calendar just kind of kept evolving. The Babylonian calendar was a lunar calendar that was developed around 2000 BC. And this calendar had 12 months with either 29 or 30 days per month, with an occasional 13th month added to it to, like, even everything out.
Mm-hmm.
It was their way of, like, doing the leap year just like we have. And this 13th month was called the intercalary month. The lunar months are about 11 days shorter than a solar year. So this is the whole purpose of leap day, of leap year.
Yeah. Okay.
The whole purpose, that is why they have, that's why there's been such issues with trying to even just map out a calendar, because half of the civilizations have been going off the moon, which
Yeah.
and then the other half have been going off the sun, and they are not in perfect alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So to try to get them to go into perfect alignment, and the problem with that, if you don't have them in perfect alignment, or, like, try to, like, offset each other, that it will fuck with, like, when to harvest plants, when to, agriculture,
yeah.
just everything,
Yeah.
like,
harvesting.
everything would just be all off whack. Like, right now, I mean, it's supposedly it's May, June. But back then, it could have been, we could actually be in December by the time, because they fucked with the calendar so much, you know? If we had stayed on this one calendar, it could be freaking Christmas Day today. We wouldn't know, right? So, sorry, I just, like, went on a total, because it's just so interesting, the way that they figured out, you know how smart these people had to be with, like, no technology? Could you imagine, like, just going and being like, hey, let's start tracking the moon, even though we don't have Google or, like, a GPS navigation? It's just insane. Like, how many years did it take to be like, this is my father's life work, was this one moon phase, and my great grandfather did this moon phase, and then for the whole world to start listening and come together to continue forward. It's amazing when you think about it. There weren't phones. There weren't even pigeons for letters back then. Like, I don't even think pigeons were alive then. Or if they were, they would be eaten. I don't know. This is 10,000 years ago, right? Like,
yeah, well, there was a lot of things alive 10,000 years ago that are not here now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is true.
But if you found a flying pigeon,
sounds funny.
You wouldn't think to put a piece of paper in it, because you didn't have a piece of paper to go send it somewhere.
You definitely would have eaten it.
You would eat it. And use the feathers as a hat, or, like, a coat or some shit, a pigeon coat. I don't fucking know.
No, you put them on your bow and arrow, so your arrow goes straight.
Yeah. Okay, if they had that. Or put them down for a nice feather bed.
Feather pillow.
Feather pillow, like, I don't fucking know. It's amazing to me that they had, like, zero technology, but this was their technology.
Well, they had technology, it just wasn't as advanced.
There was no advance.
Or was it? Because
true.
Get into a whole rabbit hole about technology.
Maybe somebody took some bad berries or some shit and accidentally time advanced and was like, dude, guys, they have a calendar in 10,000 years. We got to get on this. Just like in The Good Dinosaur, when the little boy and the Spot and the dinosaur
and started talking to the tree.
Yeah, like, maybe something like that happened. It doesn't make sense. So, okay, anyways, let me get back onto this. So, the 13th month at this point was added every 2 or 3 years. And like I said, the 13th month was super essential to just in aligning the months with agricultural seasons, and then also the festivals for, like, harvest festivals.
Oh, yeah, they got a party.
Religious festivals. And apparently, like, we need to know when we're supposed to have, like, Cinco de Mayo and shit. So... That's the last
10,000 years ago. Cinco de Mayo.
I don't know. Well, 10,000 years ago, Christmas wasn't even a thing.
I know.
Like, what was a thing? I don't know. Like,
10,000 years ago, it was
I mean,
like,
what king died 10,000 years ago that we're celebrating his birth or life or death or some shit, you know?
I don't know.
So, anyways, while Babylonian was over here figuring out their lunar calendar, in 3000 BC, the Egyptians were over here working hard as well. And they,
Oh, there you go. They were celebrating a pharaoh.
there you go. They were working on their solar year. Probably trying
yeah.
to figure out the pharaoh's birthdays and shit so they would know when to celebrate. The Egyptian solar calendar is most like our current calendar. It consisted of 12 months and each month with 30 days. So instead of the 29 or 30,
It was
it would
30.
just be 30, and then they would add 5 days at the end of the year. So then this would equate to 365 days. So they were like, fuck the 29, 30 shit. We'll just do a plain 30. That'll take care of like half the freaking fucked up days.
Yeah.
And it'll all be good. After the last day of the 4th month, which, mind you, the 4th month was not April. The
Yeah.
4th month would have been like August
Yeah,
or
because it
July,
started
because
in May,
it would have
right?
started. Yeah, it would have started. It should have if they
around that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
had. And it was the 4th. Okay, so it started after the last day of the 4th month of the summer season.
Oh.
So it was like August, September.
Yeah.
If that was their summer season. We
Yeah.
don't even know when the fuck their summer season was. Their summer season could have been like December.
Well, it also depends on how the Earth was back then.
Yeah, we know nothing because we didn't live then.
Well, because the Earth is constantly changing with climate change, and it depends on what the climate was 10,000 years ago.
God knows. I mean, America. This might not even. California might not have even been here. We could have been underwater.
10,000 years ago?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's like a long time, Heather. That's like 100 times what normal people could possibly live to. That's like over 100
No,
times.
I know it's a long time.
There's
I'm
like
just
100
trying to think
like,
if
you have to
I
think
know
back,
the
like,
answer.
Your great times 150 grandfather
Yeah.
made a calendar, probably, using a pit. Right?
Hey, could
Come on, guys,
Could have
right?
been yours in Scotland.
It could have been. It probably was. I'm sure that I came from royalty. It's really the only thing that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, and now you're living on the legacy now.
I'm living it on just for you. Great times 150 times great grandfather. I was going to try to say a Scottish name, but I don't know any. I'd say Colin. Colin is Scottish.
Oh, I thought that was
It might be. I don't know.
Irish because Colin Farrell is
Maybe.
Irish.
I don't know. McGillicuddy from I Love Lucy. That's all I got. I don't know. All right. So fun fact, each of those 5 days that they added to after the 4th month of the summer season, they were called epagamenal days. If I say it quick, it seems to work out better. Epagamenal days.
Okay.
Okay, and they had their own.
Meaning.
Those were the 5 days.
Oh, that's just,
That's just
what they
what
called
they named
those
them,
5
yeah.
days. Okay.
And each of the days actually had their own names that were named after an Egyptian deity.
Okay.
So we have
that's nice.
Osiris, Horus, Seth, Isis, and Nephthys.
Okay.
There were several festivals, rituals, and sacrifices that would take place on those supposed quote unquote unlucky days. So those 5 days of epagamenal, those days were like unlucky bad days. So they would do the sacrifices, everything, and it would be very, very bad for the sacrificial person that they were sacrificing.
Yeah, for
You know,
the
that's very-
peasants.
yeah. Yeah, so they were this was also their new year. So their new year,
Oh, what a fun party. Let's go kill.
their
let's
New
go
Year party.
sacrifice some people.
so their new year would have actually started in September, October. So it's all like it's all different. Yeah. And so that would take place from summer to autumn, and these 5 days would be used to align the solar calendar and religious practices calendar. So they would want to keep it. They would want to. That's the way that they aligned it all.
Okay. Yeah, they
and-
had to have some way that it would make sense.
Yeah. So fast forward 1,500 years, and the Babylonians figured a better way to track time. And this was called the Metonic cycle that would make sure 19 years would have 235 months. So
235 months?
in 19 years.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking 1 year for a second.
So this new timekeeping method would combine the solar and the lunar year into almost perfect synchrony. So 19 years would be like a full cycle where
Okay.
it would kind of be off, and it would like, you know, and then it's just like when like the eclipses happen, you know, they pass each other, and then finally perfectly they come together,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like the same idea, like, so a full cycle in this calendar would be 19 years. Some calendars, it would take over 200 years because they didn't quite get it correct, you know? And I'll tell you what ours is in a little bit. So at the time, the Greeks used a very similar calendar to the Babylonians with the 12 months and the occasional 13th month added. And then in 622 CE, which is, oh, it's supposed to be BCE, I'm sorry. I was like, CE, what is CE? Oh no, CE is Common Era. That's now.
Yeah, Common Era.
Yeah, not before Common Era. So there is not supposed to. Okay, so this is another thing. Remember how when we were little and we learned BC and AD?
Yeah.
Well, they can't do that anymore, obviously, because BC and AD is before Christ, and Demiga, which is the year after the year of our Lord or whatever.
A separation
So
of state
we can't
and
do
church.
that anymore because that's bad. So then the scientists were like, okay, cool. Well, now we're in Common Era, and BCE is before Common Era.
Yeah.
So this was the first time they've ever actually written CE. So because I'm always just like 80, whatever. Like that's how I learned.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
That's how it
they're
was.
just, you know, they changed it like after I left high school, dude. Like they had to just change the shit. So I don't know.
Yeah, it gets confusing when they start changing.
Yeah,
things.
like something that you've had forever, like Pluto. Why is that not a planet anymore? And then when they do reintroduce it back as a planet, it's a dwarf planet with Sirius and Iris together. Like, no, dude, no.
Yeah, or
there are 9 fucking planets. Where like I changed my kids' Earth 9. I don't care if they're wrong.
It's just like
I don't care.
When they changed math to Common Core, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Why can't I teach my kid that?
Yeah.
Normal way of doing math?
Yeah,
Now I have to relearn math to help my kids with math?
I know.
No. This is how you do it, honey.
So, I have things about Common Core math that probably don't align with yours. Because I'm okay with it because I understand it because I had a friend that was a teacher and she taught me what it was and what it actually meant, and it's not what we originally thought. But I don't know, you lived through a lot of it too with your kids, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, but it's
a different way of teaching. It's a different way to look at it.
When it first changed, when my kids were little, and I was like, wait, it changed? Like,
Yeah.
math's changed?
Yeah, that was a weird thing.
It
Like,
was
why is it?
so weird.
Yeah.
Why can't we do it the way we've always done it?
Exactly. So, anyways, okay. Which I'm still going to teach my kids the way that I learned it, so then they have more. They can teach it. They can because they might learn better the way that I learned.
Yeah.
So they need to like whichever way works. It's just adding an extra layer to however you learn. I think it's more.
Have you seen the kids that they do the math and they go like this? And they're it's like the abacus, or what's it called?
Yeah, the abacus.
Yeah, it's like an
I don't
abacus,
understand the abacus.
But instead of using an abacus, you
Use
count
your
with like
fingers.
your fingers or whatever,
Yeah.
or whatever you do, and then they'll come up with these
huge numbers.
huge
and
numbers just by going to
by like flicking their fingers.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't.
That's more confusing to Common Core. I understand Common Core more than I understand this. So
the
like, what are you
flashing
doing?
of the fingers. Yeah,
My brain doesn't like work that fast.
Yeah, you sent me a reel about that, and I was very confused. I didn't really understand what I was looking at.
So if anybody knows how to do math like this,
like the flashing with the fingers.
Yeah.
They can't see us. You're showing the video, but they can't see us. These people can't see us down here.
I'm so sorry.
That's why I keep explaining, like, because they are like blind. They can't see us.
I know. You have to look at us on YouTube.
So, I don't even know where I was. Okay, so CE. Yes, 622 CE, the Islamic calendar was established with 12 months of either 29 or 30 days. So we're right back to 29 or 30 days again.
Okay.
The Islamic year is slightly shorter than the solar year. So it would take 33 years for the Islamic calendar to reconcile and go through like a full cycle.
How many years?
So 33. So they're like kind of fucking the Babylonians.
Significantly less.
33 to 19?
Wait, I think it's 200 and something.
No, 19 years would be 235 months. Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
Where 33 years, it's like, now you're going the wrong way, dude. Come back.
Yeah.
Bring it back in.
Yeah.
Well, bring it back in. So the Romans first used a lunar-based calendar equaling 355 days, and February had 28 days. While the others were exceptionally, like, weird, March, May, July, and October had 31 days, which equates to 124 days. And then January, April, June, August, September, November, December had 29 days, which equals to 203 days. So this is almost like the most like ours now. So we're getting on course to what we have now.
Yeah.
The problem was that this calendar would be missing 10 and a quarter days every year from the solar calendar. So it would mess up the synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Yeah. So, and it's weird because the months, like, we have it every other month is 30 days and every other month is 31. They had it, like, so random. Their months were just, it was only 4 months that had the 30 days. It was only 4 months had the 31 days, and, like, 8 months had the 29 days. But there was no 30 days.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It was all weird. Yeah, it was much different. So the Romans would add 22 or 23 days at the end of every other year. So you're putting off your agriculture and everything by like 2 weeks at that point.
Yeah, every other year.
The Roman years were either 355 days, 377, or 378 days long. Like, what the actual fuckery? In 45 BCE, Julius Caesar was like, what the fuck are we doing here? And he tweaked the calendar by adding days to the months and having a leap year every 4 years. And this was called the Julian calendar. And this calendar, and still makes the most fucking sense, for reconciling the solar and lunar discrepancies. Instead of taking decades to reconcile, it would only take 4 years. Except there was still a slight problem. The math wasn't quite mathing. Every year, even with the 4-year leap day, the sun was slowly getting off its calendar year because of that quarter, that little quarter of a day. Remember, it's 10 days and a quarter it was off. So, in 1582, Pope Gregory VIII, once again, tried to fix the calendar. And this was the Gregorian, this is now referred to as the Gregorian calendar. And it has a slight leap day rule to fix that quarter of a day. So this is the rule, guys, and this is what we live by here in America and in most places around the world. Get this. A year is a leap year if it is divisible by 4, but not by 100, unless also by 400. All right? So the years 1700, 1800, and 1900 were not leap years. Even though they would have been divisible by 100.
Okay.
But because it's not divisible by 4...
It doesn't meet the criteria.
It does not meet the criteria. But the year 2000 allowed it. Because...
How did he come up with that, like,
it's
specific?
it is divisible by 400. 2100, so in the next century, it will be skipped.
Oh, okay.
It will be skipped in 2100 because it's not divisible by 400. So, yeah, and that fills the discrepancy of that quarter of a day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are y'all following along here?
Yeah, so that is what we are right now. The Gregorian calendar is the most commonly used calendar in today's world. However, it is only about 900 years old. So, they may find a better way in the future, because as we know, it takes about 2,000 years for somebody new to come along and be like, we're fucking up this calendar still.
That's a pretty new calendar, I guess.
Yeah, it's extremely new. I mean,
900 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
1582 to 20... Oh, wait. The last...
15.
It's only been 500 years. 500 years. It was 900 since Julius Caesar did it. But, no, it wasn't. I just did my math wrong. I'm sorry, my math is wrong. It's only been 400 years, so... Because 1582 to 2024, that's only 400 or 500 years.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think
You're
I did
going
my
by Pope Gregory.
Yeah, this one. So
Okay.
we'll see if it still fucks up, because who knows if it might. Meanwhile, there are several other calendars that are are currently being used in different parts of the world. Chinese calendar, for one.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to the Shang Dynasty in 1600 BCE. So they have been using this calendar forever.
Oh, they have not deviated from it.
No, but they don't really go by it. They go by it for fun, but they don't go by it. Like if you were to call China, it's still today's date. You know, it's not. They're not actually going by it. They go by it for like
Religious
religion,
purposes
like
or
just,
holidays.
Yeah, just like tradition. So this calendar, I'll tell you more. This calendar combines the lunar month with the solar year, and their cycle is 5 cycles of 12 years, totaling a 60-year cycle. So it takes 60 years
Okay.
for it to do the full thing, which is like the longest one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And each year is associated with an animal. So like I'm
Yes.
in the year of the tiger.
Yes.
I was born in the year of the tiger. Their new year is not on the same day. It actually fluctuates. And it all depends on when the new moon appears between January 21st and February 20th. So they go by the moon, and that's what starts their year.
Specifically the new moon phase.
Yes. And that's a pretty good way to do it as well, because you would still get like, once that moon happens, 360 days later, then any discrepancies would be fixed, because it would just be by the moon. It wouldn't be by, oh, it's been 360 days. Oh, it's been this many days. It's just straight up by the 13th moon.
Whatever the moon face shows you.
Then now we're on the 1st.
Yeah.
Like, it makes kind of sense. I think so. But you would still need another.
Going by the moon, it makes sense.
Yeah, but you would still need another calendar to refer to, because they're like between January 21st and February 20th. Well, of our calendar, so you're basing your calendar off of our calendar.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
confusing.
Yeah, because according to them, then their new year, there wouldn't be a February, like the months wouldn't a month up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do to a point, but it's confusing, honestly.
Yeah, it's boggling, right? It's mind-boggling. I'm telling you, this whole like time thing, we just fucking made it up. I swear to God, we did. So as of 1949, modern day China does use the Gregorian calendar. They were the last ones to start using it.
Oh.
So in the 1800s, people were off using their own fucking calendars. Everyone was on a different time. And then finally 1949, all of China was like, all right, fine, we'll fucking do this shit. But like even this like late 1800s, some parts of the country were like, fuck you, I'm not doing it. I'm using my calendar.
Well,
which would be a fucking nightmare for like, especially now with like how we're so connected to everybody, like for flights, and I mean obviously
everybody was on a different calendar.
Oh my god, how would you travel or do anything?
I'll meet you on the 3rd, and their calendar is like the 23rd.
Time zones are hard enough. The international dateline is hard enough. We can't fucking no. So, China does still use that Chinese calendar to celebrate traditional Chinese holidays, because that is how they do their holidays, is based off of that calendar.
Yeah.
Just like, that's why, like for us, not for us, but like, Catholic, well, yes, for us too, because Easter and all these holidays that fluctuate,
Christian religions.
the Catholic religions that fluctuate, Easter, Palm Sunday, all these things that everybody celebrates, even if you are Catholic or not, you're still like going to your family's house for Easter, but it's always fluctuating. Sometimes it's in March, sometimes, and it's all dependent on the Catholic calendar. So when certain things happen, so it's like Ash Wednesday has to be the like 4th Wednesday after the second moon of, whatever. It's kind of like the same thing.
And how the Chinese do their calendar.
And that's, yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like kind of like the same thing, that's how they do their...
Because it's based on their religious beliefs.
Yeah, it's the 3rd Sunday after this or this or that or whatever, And that's how we get ours in a different way, though. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
So it took the whole world to all come together and accept the Gregorian calendar. And as I said, China was the last, except for one country that is still holding its ground and will not change the Gregorian calendar.
Good for you.
So, all this calendar talk was to set up for this one reason. And it is to set up, drum roll, to explain The very real and still in use Ethiopian calendar.
Woo! Ethiopia!
It only took 34 minutes to get to the Ethiopian calendar and to the point of this whole episode. So, if
Shout
you
out to our Ethiopian listeners.
if you go to Ethiopia, you will no longer be in the year 2024.
Oh my gosh, we can time travel for real!
Real. We would actually, right now, it is 2016.
Oh, what would I be doing in 2016?
I was pregnant.
Would I have like a flip phone, or do we have Blackberries back then? What did
No,
we have?
we definitely
No,
had
we had
real phones.
Oh,
we
we
had
had
real, yeah, we
iPhones,
had real
yeah.
phones.
Okay.
But I was pregnant with Max, so whatever I was doing with Max, with him in my belly. Anyways,
You don't want to travel pregnant.
so what does this mean? How can they live in this weird time difference? Why aren't their seasons completely fucking confused? Because they should be. So, let's try and understand the Ethiopian calendar and the differences. Because my mind has now been boggled and fucked up and like put in a blender and shoved back into my head at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All
Wait,
these
it's
dates
2000
times
what there?
16.
It's 2016 right now.
So between their calendar and our calendar, the Ethiopian calendar has 13 months, with the 13th month having 5 or 6 days. Just like the ancient Egyptian calendar, the 13th month is called Pagame. So, but it's just like, it just adds on the 5. So the leap years have a 6-day Pagame, and the non-leap years just have 5 days. Pagame, a 5-day Pagame. And their leap years do not follow the same leap rules as us, because 2011 was a leap year, which is not divisible by 4, nor by 400, nor by 100, nor by anything. So nevertheless, their leap years do occur like every 4 years.
So they just do them every 4 years?
That's it.
That's just their rule?
Yeah.
Every 4 years.
So it is much like the Egyptian calendar of every 4 years instead of what the Julius Caesar calendar, instead of coming into our calendar. So
Divisible by...
if we hadn't done the divisibility and all this stuff, then I guess we'd be stuck in the year 2016. Fucking
Possibly.
weird, yeah.
Possibly.
All those quarter of a days really fucking add up, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That does add up to a lot when you really think about it.
Every 4 years, it's a whole day.
Yeah.
So in 40 years, that will be 10 days. In 400 years, that's 100 days. In 4,000 years, that's 1,000 days.
So, I don't know if you get into this, but this might be for another episode, but this makes me think about astrology. So, what are people's real signs? Like I'm April, I'm Taurus.
But are you?
But am I really Taurus?
I think you are.
But if I was on their calendar, what would I be?
Well, their calendar
They have to have an extra astrology.
is actually 7.5 years behind. So right now, it is actually December in Ethiopia
Oh my gosh.
of 2016.
That changes the month. Also, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it changes everything.
It changes everything.
Yeah. Oh, here, look. Current
So
date.
then...
I'm Googling it right now.
Oh,
so
gosh,
we are recording this on May 29th, 2024. In Ethiopia right now, it is... I don't know. It is... Sorry. I had it up the other day when I was doing the research for this. So right now, it is actually a day. I'm trying to figure it out.
It's okay.
And their year starts on September 11th. That was one. So yeah, here I'll read this really quick. The Ethiopian New Year is in September. If the ending year is not a leap year, then the new year will be September 11th. If the ending year was a leap year, it will be September 12th. It's so weird. It is so funny. So I actually was able to find out what day it was, and now I can't for some reason.
It's because you want to find it right now, but you
know.
cannot find it. That's what always happens.
I know. It's so annoying. Okay, date converter. So Today is...
If you know the answer, let us know.
Yeah, do it. Say it really quickly. Okay, so right now... Oh, they just celebrated their New Year's 10 days ago. So the Ethiopian date right now, so today, like I said, is May 29th, 2024, and it is actually in Ethiopia September 21st, 2016. It is still a Wednesday, and they call it Ginbot. Instead of September, it would be Ginbot.
September 21st, 2016.
Oh my gosh, that's 5 days from when Max was born.
Oh my gosh.
I would be like so pissed right now.
We all...
I would be so irritated right now. I would be getting ready to go to the hospital tomorrow because I was in labor with him for 3 fucking days. So, yeah, I went in on a Friday and he was cut out of me on a Monday. So I'd be like prepping to go to the hospital right now if I was in Ethiopian time. That's spooky. Let's not ever live that again. So, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that if we went to Ethiopia, we would go back in time.
So this begs the question that humanity has been attempting to answer for the last 20 centuries and beyond. Is time even real? Or is it a concept that was entirely made up? The reason we are doing an episode on calendars, and specifically the Ethiopian calendar, is because time and the concept of time and the planetary, solar, and lunar movements will come up in later episodes, and we just like really need a good foundation for this shit. So unfortunately, I do not have an answer or reasoning to the concepts of time. But I can tell you that time may not be as linear as we have grown to believe. So buckle up. Hold on to your butts. We are going to be opening a Pandora's box of time travel. Stay tuned. This will be the summer of time travel. We are going to be doing the Philadelphia experiment, the famous alleged time travelers, including John Titor and Andrew Carlson. We're going to do the Montauk Project. We're going to do a bunch of different time traveling conspiracies. And just let us know if you know about any time traveling, time conspiracies or theories or anything that you want us to investigate or anything.
Or if you have any experiences where you have not necessarily time traveled, but a lapse of time. If you've experienced something that we call a phenomenal fan experience,
which I will tell you that I do have one.
Please
Personally,
let us know.
And it happened to be twice in the same part of road, but I'll tell you about it when we get to that episode, because I'm going to do an episode on that area because it is known for that shit, and it happened to me twice.
And we would love to hear your stories because we do want to get back into our phenomenal fan experiences Fridays,
We've
where we post
and sucked on that.
Well, no, we've done a couple, and they were it was fun.
Yeah.
I would like to do another one.
I know, I do too. So send them in. Thank you guys so much for listening. And we will be working on our time episodes, and we can't wait to time travel with you. Don't forget to
share, like, and subscribe.
And email us at conspiraciesunlocked@gmail.com. Bye.